Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you are having a fantastic weekend. On the show for today, going to take a look at the most recent reporting on the Kevin Durant trade front as he has requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, and we cooked up a multitude of Kevin Durant trade ideas that involve a lot of picks and some superstar players. But first, we'd be remiss if we didn't give a shout out to today's presenting sponsor, Aura, for helping power NBA Now by Chat Sports. You can start your free trial today for the best online digital safety tool if you go to aura.com/chatsports. That link available in the comment section as well as the description of this video. So as I said, on the show today, we're breaking down some Kevin Durant trade ideas following his trade request out of Brooklyn, and this could be the end of the KD-Kyrie tenure in Brooklyn. And if that's the case, they played less than 45 games together as a pairing, and they won a grand total of one playoff series. But because it's Kevin Durant, one of the best players in the NBA, one of the best offensive players that we've seen of all time. He is absolutely box office. I can imagine that basically every team in the NBA is or should be calling the Brooklyn Nets to inquire about his availability. Yes, he's 34 years old. He's been in the league for a minute. There's a lot of mileage on the tires, but this past year, 30 points per game, still a premier and elite defender and one of the best players in the NBA. I'll put him right now number 2 behind Giannis, and that's really saying something. As for the latest on the KD trade rumors front, the Golden State Warriors, his former team, entering the sweepstakes potentially. This coming from Mark J. Spears. He said the Warriors, a team to keep an eye on. What Spears noted is that the Warriors could potentially offer the best package for both sides, Brooklyn as well as Golden State, with a deal involving Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, as well as James Wiseman. Is that juicy? Yes, it's juicy. Do the Warriors have what it takes to land KD? I don't think there's any question about it. Now, before we start taking a look at these trade ideas, here are the odds on KD's next squad in 2022-2023. Phoenix Suns leading the charge. They've been number 1 all along. Miami Heat have always been number 2. Brooklyn Nets now entering the fold at plus 550. Toronto Raptors, if they trade away OG Anunoby. Philadelphia 76ers up to 8-1 odds. Los Angeles Lakers at 10-1, followed by the New Orleans Pelicans, Portland Trail Blazers, Boston Celtics, as well as the Memphis Grizzlies. Right now, I want to hear from all of you tuned in to NBA Now in the comments section. I want you to look into your crystal balls. I want you to get your predictions in. And we're not going to throw you on old takes exposed if you're not right. Where will Kevin Durant play next year? Let us know in the comment section right now. Trade idea number 1. It's a deal with the aforementioned Phoenix Suns. That's been a team that's been rumored to be in KD for a little while. And for this particular trade, the Suns receive the superstar, the bona fide stud, the walking bucket in KD. The Nets receive Deandre Ayton, which would require a sign-and trade. Mikal Bridges, an excellent 3-and-D guy who's under team control over the next couple of years. Cam Johnson, an excellent three-point shooter, as well as 3 first-round picks. Trade idea number 2. We're going to the Miami Heat. Number 2 in the odds, behind the Phoenix Suns, who are number 1 in the odds. And if the Heat could include Bam Adebayo, I think they'd have one of the best trade packages. They cannot. Why? Contractual obligations here, because a team cannot have 2 players who sign max contracts while on the rookie deal. And the Nets right now have Ben Simmons on the roster, and he signed that max contract while on his rookie deal. So it would require Ben Simmons getting traded if the Nets wanted to receive Bam Adebayo. So we're going to operate under the premise that Simmons does not get dealt. Here's what the Heat could include. Heat receive Kevin Durant. Nets get Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, as well as 3 first-round picks. Now, Kevin Durant, according to reports, wants to play with Lowry as well as Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. That makes sense, right? Because it would make the Heat one of the favorites to win the NBA championship. But in the NBA, you have to match salaries. And without an extension for Tyler Hero, yeah, Duncan Robinson is somewhat expensive. You need to be able to fulfill those financial implications of this trade. Kyle Lowry would be included in it after signing that massive deal last offseason. Now, before we continue to get to these trade ideas, we still have a lot still to come. Today's presenting sponsor is Aura. They do more to keep you safe than any online digital safety tool. And nowadays, everything is online as compared to ever before. And what Aura does, One, they're offering a free 14-day trial if you go to aura.com/chatsports. But two, financial fraud protection. Three, identity theft protection. Four, online and device security. And what's really cool, they have these family plans that can keep up to 5 people safe. Don't be one of the millions of people per year that gets your identity stolen or your bank account hacked. It's aura.com/chatsports. Start your free, and I repeat, free 14-day free trial today. Trade idea number 3, Toronto Raptors. They can offer a nice little package here. And over the last couple of days, they have emerged as a sneaky trade destination for KD. Can you imagine if Masai Ujiri lands Kawhi Leonard? They win a championship in 2019, then KD a couple years later. That's why he's one of the best executives in the sport. Raptors get KD. Nets, OG Anunoby. Scotty Barnes also goes to Brooklyn. He was awesome last year. Rookie of the year, Precious Achiuwa. Really good versatile big who can guard multiple positions. He does not get picked apart in switches. I thought what he did against Joel Embiid in the first round was really impressive. And Thaddeus Young just signed that 2-year deal worth $8 million per. He is included in that deal as well for money purposes. And then the Nets also received 2 first-round picks. OG Anunoby, excellent defender, growing offensive guy who can average between 17 and 20 points per game. And I am so high on the future of Scotty Barnes. Be real with me right now in the comment section. How do you feel about Kevin Durant? Left OKC to go to Golden State to chase a couple of rings, made a bad business decision going to Brooklyn to team up with Kyrie. It didn't work out. Now he wants out after a couple of years in BKN. How do you feel about him? L for like, D for don't like. Another trade idea, Portland Trailblazers. Now, can you imagine KD teaming up with Damian Lillard? That would be fireworks in the Pacific Northwest, and I'd say this is one of the weakest trade proposals that we're putting together on today's program. Trailblazers, they get to see Kevin Durant play basketball with Damian Lillard, and that would be awesome. The Nets receive Anthony Simons, who they just re-upped, and they're giving him some nice money. What, $25 million per year for a guy who, if he's one of the focal points on an offense, can give you about 20 points per game. Shaedon Sharpe has the ability, in my opinion, to be one of the best players on the 2022 NBA draft class. Reminds me a lot of Jalen Green or Bradley Beal. And all teams nowadays are looking for a good 3-and-D player. And Josh Hart has been included in so many trades over the years with the Lakers, Pelicans. Here's another one that he's included in. But he's a really good player, and that's why he's used as a valuable piece for first-round picks also going to Brooklyn. Let's now pivot to the New Orleans Pelicans. I think this is one of the best trade proposals that we can put together, and I think the Pelicans, one of the sneakier teams that can acquire KD. And KD, if he wants to win a championship, he might not want to go to New Orleans because it's not really a sought-after destination, even though Bourbon Street is a fantastic time and one of the best party cities in America. But from a basketball standpoint, Kevin Durant always says, I'm a true hooper. Well, if he wants to hoop, can you imagine him going to New Orleans? Now, they would take a hit on that roster. Nets receive Brandon Ingram, Jackson Hayes, Herb Jones, excellent defender, superb value in the draft last year, and then Jose Alvarado, another excellent defender. And we saw last year, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, they were the anchors of that Pelicans defense, and they were pests going up against the Phoenix Suns in the first round. Jackson Hayes, he might have that legal situation still looming. Brandon Ingram, though, is the focal point of this deal. If the Nets want to rebuild their franchise and kickstart what they want to do after losing KD and then in turn probably Kyrie, Brandon Ingram is the best maybe piece that any team in the NBA can offer for Kevin Durant. He also plays a lot like Kevin Durant. Love the future of Brandon Ingram, his upside, and how he's been able to grow over the last couple of years. Make sure you subscribe to us on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel. It's day 4 of NBA free agency as we're doing this live, and we're still live, right? With 3,000 people watching live. The most watched NBA free agency coverage on the entire internet. But we're not stopping here. We're going to continue to inform you, keep you up to date with everything that happens year-round on the NBA. Plus, our content is 100% free. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv or hit that red sub button. A couple more trade ideas to get to. Utah Jazz here. So the Jazz are interesting because they traded away Rudy Gobert, and they have almost a Sam Presti treasure chest of picks that they can give up. As far as player assets, not that much. But Kevin Durant, going to Utah to play alongside Donovan Mitchell would also be somewhat interesting. Now, as far as salary matching, got to throw Mike Conley in there, as well as Jordan Clarkson, who was the NBA six-man back 2 years ago. But if you're the Nets right now, you're like, man, we're screwed. You know, we traded away KD. We're going to let go of Kyrie Irving. We need a bevy of first-round picks. How about 5? And what that also allows Brooklyn to do is make up for what they lost, and this has to do with all these first-round picks, when they traded away those first-round picks for James Harden. So you get back 5 first-round picks here, including those 2 players. This coming from Woj. The Jazz gathered 6 first-round picks in the past 24 hours. This was after the Gobert deal, including 7-footer Walker Kessler, the 22nd overall pick in the 2022 draft. The Jazz plan to retool the roster around all-star guard Donovan Mitchell. Now, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Mitchell gets traded, but if you want to build around D-Mitch, Danny Ainge can make a big splash by bringing in KD. Golden State Warriors here. Now, off the top of the show, we had told you about that report from Mark J. Spears. How about what Golden State can offer? They have one of the best trade packages among all teams. But first, here's what Spears had to say. It is no surprise to me that the Warriors have interest in Kevin Durant, according to sources. So does more than half of the league. It's Kevin Durant. You better make the call if you're an NBA GM. It's Kevin Durant. And that echoes what I said a little bit earlier. We're talking about one of the best players of all time. As for the trade idea I put together for KD, this is pretty interesting, right? Warriors receive Kevin Durant, Cam Thomas, and Kessler Edwards because you're giving up so many players. The Nets receive Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, James Wiseman, Moses Moody, as well as 2 first-round picks. Andrew Wiggins, second best player on the Warriors during the NBA Finals. Jordan Poole can become one of the best young offensive players in the NBA if he's not already. James Wiseman has stupid ability. Moses Moody can be an elite three-point shooter who can give you defense, and then you also get 2 first-round picks. That rivals any package on this list. Speaking of the list, we have one more we want to hit. Oklahoma City Thunder. We know that Sam Presti has collected a bunch of future picks, even though they've used a lot over the last couple of years. There's also a lot of players who the OKC Thunder can include in a deal to bring KD back to OKC for a reunion of sorts that would be dramatized and really interesting. Thunder receive KD, Nets receive Lou Dort off that extension, Chet Holmgren, the number 2 pick, Josh Giddey, who was fantastic last year during his rookie campaign. They get Poku and 4 first-round picks. So, which trade idea is the best among the 8 that we just talked about on today's show? Let me know from 1 to 8. We're going to run through them really quickly. In case you forgot, you can screenshot them, right? We showed you the Suns one. Here's the Miami Heat trade. Here's the Toronto Raptors offer. Here's what the Portland Trail Blazers can put on the table. If the Pelicans want to put their poker chips on the center of the poker table, they can do that by including Brandon Ingram. The Utah Jazz, if they want to build around Donovan Mitchell, acquire KD and give up 5 first-round picks. How about the Golden State Warriors? They have player capital and draft capital to give up in order to bring back KD. Honestly, the Nets could even include Seth Curry in a trade as well to team up the Curry brothers. And then lastly, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, Josh Giddey, and Poku, 4 first-round picks. Which trade idea is the best? Which trade idea is your favorite? List it from 1 to 8 right now in the comments section, and keep it locked for more NBA coverage here at Chat Sports.